What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke in the 2023 prediction series. I'm going to be asking the 5 burning questions that I think we have in the 2023 season. Let's get into it. So now there are a lot of burning questions going into the 2023 season. I'm not going to be so obvious and say, can Ginnivan back up his last season, even though that is a burning question. I think I've addressed that in a previous video. There's going to be a few new ones that I've had on my mind since probably just after the trade period and definitely just after the season finished. I asked you guys over on Instagram as well, posted up some of your amazing answers, so thank you so much for that. But let's jump into the questions. Burning question number 1, was 2022 a flash in the pan? Now, this is a big question to start off with. We hear it a lot from opposition supporters, a lot of media personalities and stuff. They don't have us finishing in the 8. You know, you can't sustain the close wins, or it was, being with a coach for the first year and you get those first year excitements and things like that. And look, I think it is a valid question to ask, because we had a very roller coaster of a season, right? Started off well, lost a couple of games that we should have won. The bigger teams were still beating us. Dropped a couple of games that, we definitely should have won, like the West Coast one. Reminds me, got smashed by Western Bulldogs. But then we go on this amazing dozen or so game win. A lot of close games where we should have been putting teams to the sword and winning those by 30, 40 points. We win them by less than 12 points. After the siren, blah, 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 we go on to lose a preliminary final by 1 point. So it is a valid question, and I've put it as my number 1 burning question because, look, I'm not really going to give an answer in these sort of questions, but 2022 being a flash in the pan, I think is way off, only because Craig McRae wouldn't allow that to happen. He didn't allow it to happen all throughout the season where we were winning those close games and we weren't dropping our heads and, picking the guys off the ground when they win. Don't go on the floor. We're not losers. We're winners. Even in a loss, we're still winners. And that mentality, that Craig McRae mentality, is going to see us through the second year blues with a new coach that a lot of clubs do have when they do have a new coach. So that is the first burning question. And all of these burning questions are probably going to get answered right at the end of the season. Burning question number 2, how do we go one step further? Now, one step further is a grand final, making a grand final and winning the grand final, right? Technically 2 steps, still I count that as 1 step. How do we go one step further? I think the first part is, or how do we go and can we go one step further? First part kind of leads into the first question, is 2022 a flash in the pan? We can't get those second year blues, right? The second answer or part of this question is we need to add more bows to our strings. You can't go into 2023 with the same game plan that you went into 2022. They know we're a good counter-attacking team, and they know that other opposition teams, if they have the ball in the back half, we are going to run it out. So we need to add more bows to our string. That's the only way to really say it. More attacking options. We're good at the counter-attacking. We have to get better at our center clearances. We have to get better at our forward press and all that sort of stuff. Craig McRae, from what I've heard and what I've seen, Craig McRae and the coaches have been doing that in training sessions, which is amazing. And that's going to stay a lot if we do go and add a 16th to the trophy room. Is the Grundy trade going to hurt us? Now, this has been answered numerous times, but I leave it as a burning question because I really don't know the answer to this. Darcy Cameron and Mason Cox really stood up when we needed them to last season, but with Brodie Grundy going down last season, we lose at least 7 or so clearances a game. I think that was his average from when I was when I looked up the stats. We lose a lot of clearances a game, right? And he becomes another midfielder. Cox isn't able to do that. Cameron isn't able to do that, but he is a good ruckman. All 3 of them have their different strengths. Cox definitely is great because he can go into the forward line, and Darcy Cameron can go into the forward line as well. Chop out. Darcy Cameron's a good solo ruckman. Cox is pretty good in the ruck, or good enough in the ruck. Brodie Grundy was the the combination of all of them, except for maybe he wasn't able to go into the forward line. He could take a couple of marks against that game against West Coast, if you remember, all that way back. But will this come back to bite us on the arse? I'm not talking salary cap. I'm not talking if Melbourne go on to win the premiership. Well, I guess that would bite us in the arse a little bit if Melbourne go on to win a premiership with Brodie Grundy, or go further than us with Brodie Grundy at their side. But I just mean for the team chemistry in general, is it going to hurt us? We're not going to know until the season ends. Burning question number 4. Have we found our missing puzzle pieces? Now, I made a whole video about how I think Tom Mitchell is Luke Ball 2.0 and how we really need him in the centre to get those clearances out. We saw in some training footage and the mic'd up footage that's exactly what he's doing. And it is such a tantalising prospect to have Tom Mitchell, the calibre, a Brownlow medalist, in the middle for 2 to 3 years, getting those clearances out, winning those hard balls, helping out Taylor Adams and the like, because we just haven't had it these last few years. We just haven't had it, right? So that's one puzzle piece. 2, Dan McStay. Now, there's been a lot of contention about Dan McStay. Is he worth the money that he's on? He hasn't kicked more than 28 goals in a season when he was playing for Brisbane. He offers more than just goals. He offers a partner in crime to Brody Mychak, who has been pretty much without one, besides Cox, but I wouldn't really count that at the moment. So a big-bodied forward, we haven't had one. Dan McStay comes in. He can push Checkers up the ground a little bit, be a stay-at-home full forward, or you can switch around. He's that high half forward. Checkers is deep. He's going to take the first or second best defender from another team. So that stretches the opposition's defense, right? We haven't had that pretty much since maybe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Cloak and Dawes were maybe the 2 last big sort of forwards that we had. And look, they're not going to be Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron or Curnow and Mackay, but they're going to be Checkers and McStay, and that's all we can ask for. The third piece to this puzzle is Billy Frampton. Now, 202 centimetres, I think. Couldn't make it at Port Adelaide. Couldn't make it at Adelaide, even though he was putting up really good numbers in the SANFL as a backman. He comes into this side who were playing undermanned all year. We were lucky to get where we did against the opposition forwards with what we had in that backline, right? Nathan Murphy, Jeremy Howe, Darcy Cameron. We go out without Roughhead, without Lyndon Dunn, a couple of years ago, and obviously Roughhead retired last season. He comes in, Billy Frampton, as this big, tall, muscly defender, this full-back that we haven't had for a long time, sits himself there on the big forwards, and he is absolutely smashing it. From all media reports, everyone I've talked to that has gone to training, and even Nathan Murphy came out and praised him, his professionalism and the way he's making everyone better. Billy Frampton will play round 1 for the Pies. I think he's found his forever home now. He's exactly what we need. And, you know, I guess you can kind of call this question, this burning question, will 2022's trade period be a godsend or a bust for us? And I guess you can put Hill in there as well. I think I talked about it previously, where Hill will challenge for Ginnivan's spot. So Ginnivan has to get better if he doesn't want to drop out of that squad. Can we play Ginnivan and Hill in the same forward line? Probably. So I would love to see Hill as well. But have we found 3 or 4 missing pieces to our puzzle? The last burning question is a burning question that we've had since the beginning of time, right? Since the beginning of time. Burning question number 5. Is this Jordan De Goey's year? Jordan De Goey, a footballing anomaly. Could be as good as Dustin Martin, could be as bad as me running around in the centre as well. So, Jordan De Goey, after signing a big contract, after everything that the Pies have done for him, he really does owe us now to be the player that we know he can be. He had a great final series, an absolute all-time final series for himself. Playing with a bung shoulder as well. He had that that surgery in the preseason. A fit Jordan De Goey in the full-time midfield. I don't think he's going to play for it ever again. He's going to play in the full-time midfielder. That is going to determine how deep we go into September. Yes, we have all these other people and stuff, and Nick Dacos and Pendles and blah, 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 blah. But Jordan De Goey, his power, his skill, his football IQ, and the way he can just make the ball sing for him, and he can be special if he wants to be. And I'm not saying he's going to finish top 5 in the Brownlow. I would love to see him finish top 3 in the Copeland because he's had a good year. But I really want this year to be De Goey's year. But again, we're not going to know that until the end of the year. But look, Swoopers, this has just been my 5 burning questions that I have for season 2023. Let me know yours down below. Let's have a chat. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, Double Shackers, I'll swoop you later.